This episode of the Podular Modcast is brought to you by Recovery Effects and Devices. Quality handmade effects and modules paying homage to classic synth and effects designs while innovating for today's studios and musicians. Hello, my name is Tim Held. Welcome to the Podular Modcast, where we
feast on the frequencies of modular synthesis.
Hello, sweet listener. Welcome back to the Podular Modcast. Today's guests are Bradley Millington and Josh Lim. They are the founders of Modular on the Spot Seattle. They're going to tell you exactly what that is, but just a little info. It's basically a concert series which focuses on modular artists. And what is very unique about them is they are usually outdoors in beautiful parks around the Seattle area. That's all I'm going to tell you now. I'm going to let them get into it. This is one of the first episodes recorded, so the audio quality is a little rough on this one, but ultimately I think the content really makes up for that. These guys were so cool. It's the first time I met them, and we hit it off right away. They're doing such a cool thing here in town, and us Seattle synthesists are just very appreciative. So they asked me to ask you, are you a modular artist? Do you want to play in a beautiful park somewhere in Seattle? Well then, get a hold of these guys. You can find them on Facebook or on Instagram. It's at MOTS Seattle or motseattle@gmail.com. Really quick, once again, just want to thank everybody who's supporting us on Patreon, and if you would like to do so, go to patreon.com/Podular Modcast. And real quick, just one more thing. Today's backing music comes from Connor Dorough. I hope I'm saying your name right. It's ConnorDoroughh. Look for him on SoundCloud. This song is called Underbloom. And you just take a nice little stroll through his SoundCloud page, and it's some nice dark ambient. And I'm always game for some of that. So thanks again, Connor. And if you would like to share some of your music with us or suggest something, podmodcast@gmail.com. Get a hold of us there for any of your Podular Modcast needs. All right, let's get into today's chat with Josh and Bradley. So I'm here with Brad Millington, Josh Lim. And you guys do the Seattle Modular on the Spot, which is...
It's a format that started in LA. Bana Hafar and Eric Cheslak, or Rodent 516, they started this format mainly because they wanted to get outside with their gear and kind of experience it in nature. And so they were doing it on some camping trips.
Oh, cool.
And recording themselves doing that with a generator. And then that sort of led to doing it with their friends, and now they're doing it on the LA River, I think, monthly.
Okay.
And they go kind of rogue. They just sort of do it hoping that the police don't show up and kick them out.
Really?
And they get away with it most of the time. But I have a buddy in LA that turned me on to the idea, and I thought it would be great to replicate it here. It's what it is bringing modular synths outdoors and kind of playing them in that space. And we stick to just a few guidelines, like it should be modular only.
Okay.
You don't bring any extra gear like keyboards or computers or drum machines. It's just supposed to be
That was going to be my
thing.
question, because I was going to ask if I could do one sometime, and if I brought my guitar, if that would be against the rules, which I'm fine with not bringing it.
It's actually funny, because we're starting to do a new thing. And for now it's called Modular Nights, but I don't know, that might change. Who knows? But basically, it's going to be the same format as Modular on the Spot, but we're allowing other gear.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think people are going to start bringing guitars and other stuff in with because Modular is just blowing up, and more and more people are using it, and people are getting further and further away from kind of the bedroom producer DJ stuff. And
Yeah.
So I kind of see that happening, but I also really like the idea of keeping something like Modular on the spot, especially since it's inspired by a pre-existing thing, to kind of honor, you know, the original people's idea.
Yeah, and we're not the only ones replicating it.
Right.
You know, it's happening in lots of different cities, and everybody's kind of sticking to those forced limitations, which kind of gives it an identity.
Right. No, I think that's really cool.
And we're not gonna like stop doing the normal Modular on the spot. Like I think eventually the plan is to do a show every month, and then every other month have it be Modular on the spot. And any month that it isn't Modular on the spot, we do this new thing.
Okay. And how does the weather kind of dictate? Because I went to one of your guys' things on Capitol Hill. Was that Cal Anderson? Not Cal Anderson. Volunteer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was super cool. But so they're all outdoor, and they're all at parks. So
Well,
far,
they're
right?
not all outdoor.
They're not
Well,
out,
because
okay.
you know we're in Seattle, and so it
Uh-huh.
rains
That was
3/4 of the
gonna be
year.
my question.
So we actually, well, I guess now we actually do it. There's an art space in Soto called Mojito.
Oh yeah.
And then the
Molly's
owner,
awesome.
Molly,
Yeah.
we talked to her, and you know we did the Modular on the spot in December, and then she approached us afterwards, and she was like, "Hey, I would love to host these things every month."
That's so cool.
So that kind of works out because we need an indoor space to do it. But then, you know, once we get to May, you know, in summer, it'll get sunny. And then so right now we're actually talking to the Parks Department. We're trying to figure out how we can do them in the parks in the sunny months, but then the rest of the year we'll do them indoor at Mojito.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
and really, in keeping with the tradition, probably if it's outdoors, you know, it's Modular on the spot. If it's indoors, we'll probably give it some new identity.
Okay.
Although in the past, you know, couple of years that we've done it, we have done Modular on the spot events at Mojito indoors, just as Josh said, because weather, and it's,
Right.
you know, we're not in LA, and
Yeah.
it's hard to keep it going. But yeah, I think in keeping with you know their principles, we should just separate the two things. And a lot of people like yourself have asked us, you know, is there any way we could introduce some new format that would allow for more, you know, more types of gear? Because it really opens up how many people, you know, we can get to perform and come out and do it, and maybe with a modular angle to it. But yeah, we'll sort of give Modular on the spot its own identity, and then create something new.
Yeah. So how did you guys meet? Is it Modular on the spot that brought you together? Or
Yeah,
okay.
actually. So I actually, in last July, my fiance and I, we took a vacation. We were down in LA. And then I actually went to one of the Modular on the spot events. And then so I went to that, and then I went to like a few other shows and like this DJ set downtown, and then, you know, it was a Thursday night and every one of these events was packed. And so I was like, wow, that's crazy. Like there's like a really thriving electronic music scene down here where you can play a show on a Thursday night and like 100 people will show up. And then so I was like, I wish there was some sort of community like that in Seattle. And then so I got back, and the one that intrigued me most was Modular on the spot, and so I wanted to do that. And then so, you know, I started getting it going, and then I eventually emailed Patchworks, and I was like, hey, I want to do this Modular on the spot thing. If you guys know of anyone who want to perform, whatever, blah blah blah. And then they were like, hey, there's actually this guy Bradley who's already been doing it. You should talk to him. And then so I reached out to Bradley, and then he kind of led me through everything and helped me figure out like the logistics and how to plan and everything. And then and then we kind of eventually kind of just talked about like, hey, we should just do this together. There's no point in having two competing Modular on the spot
it's
things.
such a small city.
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
Yeah.
So we should do this together, and that's actually worked out pretty well.
So it's been about a little over a year then?
No,
Or...
like I did my first one at the end of last August.
Okay. Oh, so it's
Yeah,
new,
it's
new.
pretty
Okay.
new.
Okay.
Yeah,
Alright,
so we just joined up, and I mean, it just, like you said, it makes sense with such a small community, and we don't want to step on each other, and at the same time, we realized like by doubling up our efforts together, like we can, you know, financially make it happen a little bit easier, and we have to buy permits and stuff like that.
Right.
We're not exactly going as rogue as the LA folks.
Right.
It's gonna be harder to do in Seattle, so you know we can combine resources, we can, transport gear together. We can share gear, and if we get onto like a monthly cadence or something with these shows, and one of us isn't available, it means the other one can kind of step in and run the show too.
Yeah.
So we can keep a rhythm.
As cool as it would be to go rogue like LA, we have so many great parks here.
Yeah.
Why not just be able to build a relationship with them and have
exactly
that volunteer, that stage, that whole field there? That was perfect. I went up there not really knowing what to expect, and I just kind of walked around in the woods listening to modular music, and then sat there for a minute and watched, and went over by in like that little section where all the neo hippies always go and twirl sticks around and shit.
There's something really cool about doing them in the public parks, because I don't know if either of you guys have been to the one in LA, but at the spot where they do it in the LA River, like, you really have to kind of know how to find it. But when we do it in Gasworks Volunteer Park, like, especially in the summer, there's already a ton of people there.
Oh, Gasworks!
So you
cool.
you don't even have to do a whole lot of promotion, because there's already people at the parks,
right? And
they're gonna hear it, and they're gonna come do it, and they're gonna watch it, and they're gonna exactly.
So the foot traffic from families and stuff is just super entertaining. Like, we have toddlers dancing in front of the performances and stuff, which is just amazing.
Yeah.
And I think the performers really like it too, getting that kind of random foot traffic. So
also, it's so compelling looking to people who don't know what it is. I can see that, just people being like, what the hell is going on over there? So
the best thing about Gasworks is we actually have kayakers and sailboats like pulling up behind us, so people will drop anchor and hang out for a bit.
That is so cool. This is a great city to do it in. So I guess the future of it is just to keep going and just, do you kind of want to hit all the major parks in the Seattle area, or?
That's a good question. I mean, we were sort of diversifying in different parks for a while. We've done volunteer Gasworks. We did Seward Park, which was they have an amphitheater there. That seemed like a great space to do it as well. Seward's a little bit further out of the way, so it didn't get that random foot traffic element.
Yeah.
And I don't know, we keep hearing that how much people love Gasworks, so we thought about trying to maybe do that more often. And for starters, I think we want to get on some kind of regular rhythm where people can expect the show on the second Saturday or the third Saturday or something of every month. And we may go so far as to, maybe stick with one location for a little while and see how that goes too.
Gasworks is probably the best option. I mean, it's such a cool backdrop in both directions, and probably have you noticed that's the most foot traffic, or
definitely
where people kind of drift in the most?
Yeah,
I can see that. Yeah, because volunteer, as good as it is, it's so spread out.
And Capitol's a little more out of the way than Gasworks.
Yeah.
It's a hike from the parking lot, though. You're dragging the gear all the way out to the lake's edge can be a pain.
So, I guess let's go one at a time. Your guys's. I like to hear everybody's story on from musician to modular synthesis. So
I've been producing music since I was a freshman in high school, and I mainly did like hip hop and a little bit of electronic, and then I started, getting more into electronic, and then I bought my microbrute, my very first synthesizer, and then my MS-20, and then I was like, wow, synthesizers are the coolest thing ever. And then, I kind of saw online these modular things, and then I read an article about what they were, and it just really intrigued me, like, the idea of, it's kind of like a guitar pedal board. You buy the case, and then you buy all the individual units, and you can make your own unique instrument, and no one else is going to have that exact same thing. And then on top of that, the ability to patch things on the outside just adds such a layer of creative flexibility, which was, to me at the time, was unheard of.
Yeah.
But then I looked online, and then I saw the prices, and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna stick with what I got. I'm not gonna do it. And then I graduated high school, and then my uncle, he gave me $1,000, and he was like, just do whatever you want with this $1,000. And then I was originally gonna buy a Fender Rhodes because I always wanted one.
Yeah. But
then I realized once summer's over, I'm gonna go off to college. I can't fit a Rhodes in a dorm room.
Right.
Also, that would be a pain to move.
Yeah.
So I was like, wait, $1,000, I can start my modular.
Yeah.
You know, so I actually got in my car and I drove down, because Patchworks hadn't existed at this point. So I drove down to Portland to Control Voltage, and I went into the store and I was like, hey, I have $1,000. I have no idea what I'm doing. Help me start a modular. And then so I got set up with the Cell 90 case from Pittsburgh Modular, and then Z3000 oscillator, Mutable Instruments riffles, and the Pittsburgh outs. And literally it was just the case and those three things, and then that ran me like $900.
Yeah.
And I would have spent more, but I had to buy gas to get home. So, that's why I got started. But like it was so daunting because it was like, man, almost $1,000, and I just have this super basic voice. And, but then eventually, like, I kind of just got over the prices, and I just like learned patience and just slowly built my rig over time. And
that's the hardest thing when you're starting.
Yeah.
I mean, the term Euro crack is
real.
Yeah. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I sold so much stuff.
Yeah.
To just buy like a clock and a drum.
Yeah.
Module. You know, like.
But yeah, now I'm graduated college, and now this is where my rig's at. So I think it kind of paid off. So.
It's a beautiful rig. And before we get to Brad's story, this is a question I'm really interested in, especially for you, saying you started as kind of like a hip hop producer. How much did getting in a modular rewire your producer's brain?
Oh man, a lot. Actually, last night I sat down and I made music on my computer for the first time in like 6 months. Everything I've been doing has been on my modular, and it's so interesting because I used to be, when I make music, I used to be so methodical about it, and I used to plan everything and place everything perfectly, and then spend like hours just trying to get this right one sound perfect, but now it's so in the moment, and it's, I plug these things in here, and then whatever. And then I actually kind of knew how CV worked already, because I primarily produced in Reason, and I don't know how much you know about Reason.
It has like the patch cables.
But yeah, if you hit a button on the keyboard, it'll flip the rack around and you can patch everything, and a lot of the onboard synths on Reason have CV. And then so I kind of knew a little bit about that, but having it be hands-on and like a tangible object, just it allowed for so much more experimentation, and I almost had to just let go and kind of let the instrument take more control than I did.
Yeah. So Brad, how'd you get started from musician to modular?
From musician to modular. Let's see. Well, I mean, I've been into electronic music for a long time. I mean, since I was in high school. I'll date myself and say that was in the mid '80s.
In high school?
Yeah.
Oh wow, the years have been kind. I thought you.
Yeah. So and I grew up in the Midwest. So there's a lot going on in Chicago. There was like the Chicago industrial scene, wax tracks, and all that stuff. And we're only 2 hours away from where I live, so I'd go up and check out shows and stuff like that. But yeah, so I've been into that scene, from way back. And I think like in high school, I got an EMU Emax sampler. That was like the first thing I had. And so I've been kind of dabbling in electronic music for a long time. And I shelved it for a while as I went through college, I think. And then when I came back out of college, got kind of established in a job, Ableton started to like catch my attention. Like that was, because I think what I was sequencing my Emacs with was a Atari 1040 ST and like Creator software, which was just ancient by today's standards. Yeah. And so Ableton was sort of like me waking up to, wow, things have become so much more modern and easy and powerful. And so I got into that a little bit. I think, I don't know when it was, Ableton 7 or 8. It wasn't, I was sort of late to the party. But I think what Josh said about like surgically creating music and kind of obsessing on everything just never really connected with me. And I'm also one of those people that like has short attention span, and I might get so far with like a groove or something but never figure out how to finish it. And so nothing was ever finished. And as much as I enjoyed the technology, I kind of wasn't actually making a whole lot of music. And so let's see, how did I actually get? So I went to Decibel Festival one year up here, and did like an Ableton trivia show. That they were giving things away, and it was sort of like a Price is Right game show sort of thing. And so I made it through all the rounds of that and ended up winning the thing. And they were giving away a push, which I already had, and I gave it to the runner-up. And the organizers thought that was cool and wanted to give me something else, so they gave me a free class at Dubspot, which is like a DJ school. And
here in Seattle?
No, it's like an online thing.
Oh, okay.
And so I took that class, and it was all about Native Instruments Complete software.
Okay.
That whole suite
is that like Massive?
Exactly, like Massive, Absinthe, FM8, all that stuff. And I met Joe Caputo, who was the teacher for that class.
Joe Caputo, and that's a character from a TV show as well.
Is he?
On Orange is the New Black.
Yeah, that's it.
He's the warden.
He's the warden, yeah. Sorry, totally.
I know, I kind of thought that too. I was like, wait a second.
Different Joe. Anyway, so yeah, he was working there at the time, and I don't know how much you know about Dubspot, but they've completely imploded at this point. And he, as they were going through that process, he was kind of whispering in my ear and saying, I'm going to spin off and start my own thing. It's going to be a modular synth school. And we had already been talking a lot about that. And so I just kind of followed him over there and decided to take some courses from him. And at the same time, I just kind of come back to hardware. I got a Moog Sub 37, and like that was my keyboard controller and like a foray back into analog synth.
Right, and it has CV in and out, or just...
It has pitch and gate, I think.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So, so I was already kind of gravitating to that sound, that big sound, analog and everything, but modular just, spoke to me as, as like the next step to that. And I just jumped in with both feet, and I knew that I didn't want to piecemeal my first system together, because I thought, I'm eventually going to be into it. I'm eventually going to want to combine a bunch of modules, and I may as well get something that's really substantive from the get-go and something where I can learn all the concepts. So I jumped in all the way and got a Make Noise shared system.
Yeah. Okay. So I wanna talk about that, because you wanted to jump in to modular synthesizer. I feel like you jumped into the coolest, deepest, but maybe the most daunting, confusing for a beginner.
I disagree with that.
Okay, because I don't know. Just looking at it and.
Well, so I think Make Noise turns people off sometimes because their faceplates are kind of hard to interpret, and so they look more complicated than they really are. But the truth is, their modules are all very much like single function, everything on the panel, not a lot of hidden modes. I would say that's true of everything except for maybe the Tempe. But yeah, a lot of their modules are actually really approachable.
Okay.
And so yeah, I mean, you've got, your standard, oscillator, random module, VCA, maths, which is the function generator, envelope generator, LFO, Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
That one actually maybe does qualify as a complicated module when you get into everything it can do. But yeah, no, I think it was a great system to just get all the concepts down. And, if you're already familiar with those basics of like, oscillator, VCA, no, filter doesn't really enter the Make Noise realm very much because they have that West Coast, ideal. But yeah, I mean, it really wasn't that much different.
Okay. That makes me feel better, because I'm in love with the Make Noise stuff. If a molt can be cool, Make Noise is going to make the cool molt.
It's true.
It's pretty sweet. You can do like Andor with it, which is pretty
The
cool.
coolest molt was the one that they were only offering with the shared system, and everybody wanted it separately. And they finally introduced a case that is just the case in the molt, and you can fill it with whatever you want.
Okay, is that big long horizontal guy?
Exactly.
Okay.
Right in the middle. Yeah.
Right on. Okay, and so speaking of Make Noise and maths, you just did a workshop on maths at Patchworks, which is our store in Seattle.
Right. Yeah, so I mean, I guess backing up a little bit, I mean, the reason I got into Modular on the spot was like to find the community in Seattle that was doing this stuff. And of course, Patchworks didn't exist at that moment, and I thought, what better way to find the people up here that are doing it than to try to replicate Modular on the spot. Fast forward, Patchworks sort of just evolved right at the same time and in parallel.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always had it. I mean, for me, the goal of doing this is to get connected to people, get connected to community, and to give some part of me into that community, so it will give back to me.
Yeah.
And so yeah, this mass workshop is my personal goal. For this year is to actually start delivering more workshops and trying to teach what little I know about modular, back to the rest of the world. And so I did the mass presentation, I think it was 2 weeks ago, and it seemed to go over really well. We had full house, and a lot of people came up to me afterwards and said they got a lot out of it. And the whole idea was just to talk about all the functions that maths can do. And really anybody who's read the manual will kind of know all those things. And I just kind of went through the manual systematically, and we patched it up. I talked about what we were building, tried to make it sonically interesting, like to do something so you could hear the effect of it, and then tried to explain how it worked conceptually under the hood, like what maths was doing.
Okay.
And I just repeated that ad nauseum until I got through the whole manual.
Yeah, no, that's perfect.
Yeah, and it was really great. So, and I hope to do more of them.
Yeah, that's maths is actually one of the first modules I ever messed around with, which is weird, but I kind of with some help from my buddy. He kind of helped me wrap my head around it. But I would credit maths 25% of like the reason I wanted to get into it. Just seeing what that one module could do with an oscillator was, I don't know, just blew my mind. So
yeah, and I think most people use it as just like an envelope generator or an LFO type of thing, a repeating envelope. But it actually can be so many different things. I mean, half-wave rectification. I mean, who does that? Who knows what that does?
I don't even know.
But yeah, I mean, there are a bunch of things that it does, and so yeah, it's kind of cool. Just go through the manual and you patch those things up, and you'll learn a lot about what it does.
I really want to get one, but I have the faceplate and PCB. I'm about to build the Rampage from FACO, which I think is similar enough to it to where I probably would spend my $300 on something else. But
and you can DIY it if you
want. That's
the Rampage.
Yeah, so I gotta buy some faders, and then me and my buddy Greg from Recovery Effects, we'll do builds every once in a while. We did a Thomas Henry 4046 VCO LFO a few months back. And it's actually for sale at Patchworks right now because I traded it in because I wanted something else.
I'm so glad that place exists.
I know. So it's funny that you say that you wanted to, the community's here. You wanted to not only be a part of it, but give a part of yourself to it and just kind of like meld with it in a way. And that's kind of what I'm hoping to do with this. And it seems like it's just like a really nice serendipitous moment for that with Patchworks, and with you guys doing what you're doing, and I'm hoping that I can kind of come in from another angle, and I'm trying to push all of my electronic friends into buying modular synthesizers. But I do feel that this community is coalescing. There's always been a cool electronic music community here in Seattle. I kind of got introduced to it via, Further Records and Hush Hush Records, which are totally different things. But then I started kind of meeting people from those areas, and then met Andy and Cindy and got into the Monster Planet crew. And now I feel like with Modular and Patchworks and what you guys are doing, it's all really, really starting to come together. Like, we've already talked about 3 or 4 people that we know, but tonight's the first night we've actually met. So to me, that's exciting. I don't know where I'm going with that other than just kind of waxing poetically about.
Yeah, something's happening. And it's both, the explosion of the technology and the fact that modular is just so hot right now, and there's explosion of manufacturers and a lot of people gravitating toward it, and Seattle has a community that's revolving around events like this, and around places like Patchworks, who are also doing education and workshops and DIY nights, and I definitely feel like something really great is happening. And at the time when I was imagining doing modular on the spot just to find people, I didn't have a clue that any of this was just on the horizon. And so it hasn't been that long, and just to see how far the community's come is like totally amazing to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a year since Patchwork's opened, just a little more.
Yeah.
And it's they have. I did a talk with Cindy about a month and a half ago. They've got a lot of cool stuff planned for this year, and they're already doing such cool things, like you said, with all the workshops.
And granted, the community existed, and I just didn't know about it.
Right,
But,
and I think we needed Patchworks to almost kind of be like an island in this.
It's like the central hub.
It is. Really,
Everything kind of goes back to Patchwork.
And the people that work there are so fucking cool.
I just met some people from Spokane this last weekend who are doing something out there.
Oh, really?
And they had seen some Modular on the Spot video, and they were really excited to meet me and wanted to know if they could come out here and do some shows, and if people would come out there to bootstrap their synth community. It was their name, Chelsea and Tobias from Technological Taxidermy is what they call themselves.
Okay,
But
cool.
they were super cool, and so I mean, just east of the mountains, and of course south of Portland, there are budding communities or mature communities in the case of Portland.
Are you guys maybe gonna try to go mobile with it around here? Or are you gonna stick to Seattle and encourage people like the people in Spokane to do their own thing?
Yeah, I haven't even really thought of that, honestly.
Well, Kevin Meyer in Portland's already doing it, and I think it would be more. So I think these people I talked to from Spokane, they're really interested in starting a Modular on the Spot out there. And if anything, I think they would be the ones, doing that for their local community. But they wanted to bootstrap it, and to do that, I think getting some people from here to maybe come out there and help with the shows, or vice versa. They can come out here and be part of our shows. That's the idea they were pitching to me. So I think it'd be more just about kind of helping them and get their own thing going.
I've got like this daydream vision of like them just popping up all over the country.
Yeah, now that you said that, I kind of feel the same way. Like, I don't really want to like try to cultivate this big like Washington community where Josh and Bradley we're doing this big Washington thing. I'd rather have each. I like the idea of every city kind of having their own thing, and then we help each other out.
I kind of feel like all sorts of people are attracted to Modular. I think there's kind of this underlying characteristic that we all have that's kind of with the impermanence thing, with the I don't want to make this the Josh and Bradley thing. I want this to just be its own thing, and we'll do it here. There's kind of like, it's almost kind of like, I haven't said this out loud yet because I don't want to sound cheesy, but this is the way I think about it, is there's almost like a kind of a Buddhist nature to it, and that like there's like the selflessness and the impermanence of it. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm really romanticizing it, but...
Well, if anything, the people in this community, I mean, I've yet to meet really, any bad characters in this scene. And
Right.
That already just feels really great. And I agree with everything you said about the modular process too. I mean, part of we didn't really get to that in my story, but the reason why I gravitate so much to it is for all the same reasons you've already described. Both of you have already described, which is it's exploratory, it's impermanent. You don't know necessarily where it's going to lead you, and I felt like I was no longer having to like surgically create things and figure out okay, I've got a pretty good intro, now where do I go? It just sort of evolves and is sonically interesting the whole time. It's constantly changing, so that really spoke to me, and was the first time I felt like I was being productive at making things that spoke to me and that I was proud of, or that it made music making fun and not a chore. And so I think I found my home in music and this place.
So in that, go ahead, Josh.
Well, I was just going to say, backtracking a little bit, it was a little funny that you talked about, not meeting any bad characters in the scene, because before I really did modular stuff, I did a lot of performing, with like my hip-hop stuff and my other electronic stuff, and I still do. So over the years, I connected with a ton of rappers and other producers and DJs and songwriters and singers, and then so my fiance, she goes out with me to all these shows, and she's kind of my roadie / manager. So she's met everyone that I've connected with, and then after I did my first Modular on the Spot, we got back in the car afterwards, and she was like, these people are way nicer than all the other artists that you've ever encountered.
I experienced that too. I mean, I didn't do the hip hop thing, but I did like the rock band thing for a long time, and myself included. There's just some like weird ego thing where like you share a green room with another band on a Tuesday night, and you're playing to each other, but you like you don't really talk to each other, and it's just like that kind of shit I got so tired of. And I think again, this is another one of the boons of this. So kind of going back to what we were just talking about, like the process of it all, and the I'm curious, as people who have produced in the past, do you notice that you actually produce less I guess songs or tracks or albums now that you're into Modular?
Yes, actually, definitely.
Okay.
I remember the year before I really went into Modular, I had like 3 different like EPs or projects, and I had the whole library of tracks. But now I kind of just want to like play my Modular, less than actually like sitting down and like making track 1, track 2, track 3.
Yep,
Here's an EP.
Yep. I've noticed that's a trend.
Yeah.
Do you guys know Chris Davis? Because if not, you should definitely get to know him. I just did an episode with him. He's done stuff with like Motor Records, and he's.
I know Motor. I've been to some of their Motor showcases, but I don't know him.
God, I'm sorry, Chris. It's either PLL. I think it's PLL.
Oh, I've seen him then. I've seen PLL.
Okay, so that's Chris. And we were just talking about it. I told him, hey, send me before I record it. Send me your favorite track off your your latest album or whatever I can play during. He's like, actually stopped recording once I got into Modular, and I'm like, well, I kind of did too. I was like on a 1 album, 1 EP a year trajectory, and then I got into this, and I'm like,
totally.
I don't even have an idea for what my next album is going to be, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, well, it's funny because it's been a while, but this month I've been doing this whole January thing where I've been trying to do like a jam every day, and then through that's kind of almost like naturally produced. Like I've taken all the best ones, and it's almost naturally made its own little like EP album thing. But like again, it was an accident. Like I didn't like sit down and like try to make this. It just happened to.
Yeah.
But.
So I think I've already said I wasn't finishing a whole lot of music before anyway. I mean, if anything, I've always thought of myself as just like a music hobbyist and not someone who's actually getting any serious work done with it. But with the Modular, I love that meditative aspect of just coming home from work or whatever and getting lost in it, and maybe I'll record it, maybe I won't. I do have recording at the ready all the time, so I'm usually patched through a mixer that's just patched to a recorder that I can, if I like what I'm hearing, I can hit record, and I do, but I'm just recording stereo at the moment, and and if I like it, maybe someday I'll edit it up, chop it up, and it'll end up on SoundCloud. But but yeah, I mean I just mainly just hit record if I like what's happening, and maybe I'll jam on it for a little while.
Okay.
But for me, that's honestly maybe some of the most finished stuff I've ever done, which is fine with me. I'm enjoying myself. I'm getting something out of it.
Yeah.
And
it's something I just thought of. I wonder if maybe how the change in just the climate of the music business, or trying to actually quote unquote make it or be an artist. I wonder like. Cutting through the noise is so difficult, and to actually try to do anything with it where that could become your job or you're getting critical praise, like it's way more lofty as it gets more saturated, and I just wonder how much that has played into kind of this transition. I feel like a lot of electronic musicians are switching to Modular, and everybody I've talked to stopped recording as much shit, so.
That's actually kind of perfectly described where I was. So 2017 was like a pretty crazy year for me musically. I released like a ton of different projects, a ton of tracks. I played at the Moore Theater with Robert Glasper.
Whoa.
I played Sasquatch. I played Upstream. I was playing everywhere and doing so many things. But it like it was awesome. Like, don't get me wrong, I love doing it. But now that I'm the little more low pressure, now that I'm not really trying to like make it or like be for lack of a better word, productive with my music, now that I'm kind of just like sitting down just jamming and just kind of like relaxing, it's almost brought more fulfillment to me just doing that than it was playing at Sasquatch in front of a ton of people. So
I just think there's something very valuable about it, and to see it actually enrich people's lives in ways that chasing down the next track, didn't in the past.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Little scenario. Let's just forget the reason why, but you have to live on a cruise ship for the next year.
That'd be awesome.
I don't know, man. You have to live on a cruise, but it's not like an Alaskan cruise. It's like, let's think of like the yuppiest, shittiest cruise that you can think of with like just buffet and shitty comedians. This is where you have to live for a year, and so your cabin in the cruise ship is a quarter the size of this average size bedroom we're sitting in right now. You can bring 5 modules with you.
Oh, 5. Fuck. You said 10 before.
Was it 10? Okay, so I changed it from
Actually,
10.
5 is better.
No,
10
I'm
would
kind
take
of down
way
to
too
I'm kind
long.
of down to do 5.
Okay, yeah. So,
Shit.
Brad,
Oh, gosh.
5 modules.
I'm happy you went with him first, so I have to think about it.
Yeah, I have to think about how to pare it down. Okay. I mean, you need the basics. You need something to make sound. You want something versatile. You need envelopes. You're gonna need an amplifier. You're gonna need an oscillator, something minimally. And,
Okay, so an output
forget
mixer is not part of 5.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
get that.
thank God.
Yeah. You don't have to be like, oh, I guess a mixer. But
Sure. Yeah, I'm not gonna spend one of my modules on a multi.
I know.
I might.
I that.
Mutable instruments links, man. That's a sweet module. Anyways, you go ahead. I'm taking it.
Yeah, I don't know. Gosh, oscillator wise, I mean, I love the DPO from the shared system. It's super versatile. You get 2 oscillators, a complex oscillator, FM, an LFO when you want it to be, lots of wave shapes. So that I think, and it's just a really great sounding
I'm
oscillator
thinking
to
about
me.
getting one.
So DPO would be definitely first. I probably, it's sorry to stay in make noise land, but I probably would stick with mass, because mass is a Swiss Army knife. You get a couple other LFOs if you want them. You certainly have your 2 envelopes, and attenuators, ways to dial things in, and a bunch of other functions. I mean, you'll have some gate outputs. So, yeah, it's versatile. So those 2 at least.
I kind of figured maths was going to be on about 99% of all my guests' lists.
Yeah.
It just seems like that's the module. So.
Yeah, I mean, I have Quadra and an expander isn't quite the same thing. I have that in a different system. Give me 4 envelopes or LFOs or whatever, but it doesn't do all the things that math does. Math is definitely more versatile. What else would I do? Okay, I need a VCA of some kind. The other thing is math can be a sound source. It goes audio rate, so I can get not a volt per octave tracking oscillator, but I can get a couple of other oscillators out of it. I need a VCA. Probably just, I would say Optimix, because I love the sound of the Vactrols and I like the striking and everything, but I'm gonna go for something different, like maybe a quad VCA, like Intelligent quad VCA or something, where I've got 4 different amplifier sections.
All can be controlled with their own CV, right?
Yeah, and can be, I think, exponential, linear, some different response curves and stuff.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm just going for basics at this point, because otherwise I'm not going to get any sound out of this. So now I need like one of those Swiss Army knife modules that can do a lot more. I have an octa controller, which is cool. That's good for. It has 8 outputs. It can be sample and holds, it could be arpeggios, it could be, I'm going to need to sequence somehow. So I'm going to need some way to get static voltages out. I love Renee.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. That's like the XYZ sequencer, right? Like it's not just... Is that what they call the function on it?
They call it a Cartesian sequencer, and because it has sequences in the X and the Y direction. But no, it just it's a really fun and playable sequencer. It has a lot of interactivity with it too, because you can touch the base plates and restrain the sequences it's playing. So
is that 4?
Yeah, I'd be up to 4, and I basically just have like a system Cartesian. I don't know what I have. But okay, so for my sequencer,
it's hard.
It's super hard. I'm missing random too. Like I'm missing, maybe like a ultra random analog or something where I get some noise. I get 2 different randoms. I have smooth random, step random, all that stuff. Because I need maybe more modulators. I can do it without a filter. Although Optimix would give me some sort of pseudo filtering.
Yeah.
My quad VCA doesn't do that.
Right. So which are you taking?
I'm gonna be lame and just do Renee Optimix DPO.
This episode is brought to you by Megwise.
I gotta get a sponsorship, man.
Totally. But I threw some shout outs in there to some other other modules.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Octa Controller's a great one, I think, for, you get 8 LFOs if you want. Or, you've got random, you've got gates, you've got arpeggios, it's actually pretty, you can do a lot with it. Okay, so, DPO, Mass, Renee, Optimix.
It's a solid setup. I'd have fun with that. I think you could have a lot of fun with that.
And then some kind of random.
I'll
say ultra random analog just so I don't have a woggle bug in there.
Okay. I wonder, like, if you did have that for a year on a horrible cruise ship, maybe you would just like come out of that like really, really being a boss of all of those things, and then get into the work, like just be a master synthesis.
I think I'm going to trade my Optimix for a quad VCA because I'd rather have more ways to mix than.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Josh? You've had some time to think about it?
Yeah, well, so question, do I get my pedal board on this cruise ship?
Your guitar pedal board?
Yeah, like, can I bring my Big Sky with me?
Oh, man. Well, Brad didn't get a cool benefit like that. So I think in order for that to be okay, let's say that we'll throw in a couple molts. Brad can bring in a couple molts or something like that. Maybe not as cool as a pedal board, but the effects are hard modules.
Because I don't want to. If I only have 5 modules, I don't want to waste one on an effects module.
Right, right. Well, that's what makes this so tough. Yeah, no guitar pedal.
No guitar.
I gotta be tougher. I gotta be tougher about this.
All right. Well, so for oscillator, I think I would definitely do the qubit chord.
Okay, I've never even heard of that.
Well, because it does polyphony.
Okay.
And it does really easy polyphony.
Okay.
And it's cool. So it has a mix output for the full chord, and then it has individual outputs for each individual chord voicing.
Oh, nice.
And then so you can do triads or 7th chords, and then you have CV control over what inversion the chord is in. You have CV control over the quality of the chord, whether it's major, minor, dominant. You have control over the chord voicing and the waveform. So it's actually a pretty flexible module, and it sounds absolutely gorgeous.
Okay.
So I'd have to do the chord. Cool, because I'm really super into like ambient stuff right now, and so I feel like I need something polyphonic.
Okay. Well, I'm always listening too, because I'm still building my setup, and some polyphony would be pretty nice.
Yeah, so I'm hoping later when we do the additive now thing that I'll get something that can warrant me using my chord, because I love that module. So chord, I would probably do my Sputnik quad VCF/VCA.
Okay.
Because it's both quad filter and quad VCA.
Uh-huh.
It has 4 channels, each with individual outputs, and then each channel, there's a switch where you can make it either a filter, amp, or both.
Okay.
So that's going to help a lot,
good,
especially if my cord has 4 voice outputs.
Mm-hmm.
Then I could
exactly.
Wait, so
I feel like you could have fun with just that.
Yeah, so I have the cord, Sputnik, I need a sequencer.
Mm-hmm.
The Pittsburgh Lifeforms mini sequencer that came out a little bit ago.
Yeah.
I got it and I love it.
Okay.
It's awesome. So I'll do that. Shoot. What else? That 3? That's 3.
Mm-hmm.
What am I missing? I have a sequencer, I have a voice, I need an envelope.
Mm-hmm.
I'm having a tough time deciding between my IntelliGel Dual ADSR or my Mutable Instruments Peaks. Because
Peaks has those extra functions.
It does, but if I'm looking for just an envelope, I think the Dual ADSR does it better.
Mm-hmm.
But the Peaks has a lot of other stuff too.
It's got the drums in it.
It has the drums, it has the LFOs.
Have you found the Easter egg? Have you done the Easter egg on it yet?
Where you like hold the split key and then it
does some weird, play some weird sample or something. I don't have one. My buddy has one. I thought that was really weird.
Shoot. Oh, fruit ash.
So what? You at 3 now or 4?
3, but the 4th will either be the IntelliGel or the Peaks.
Okay. Brad's shaking his head for the IntelliGel.
You can modulate the IntelliGel envelope. You can't modulate peaks.
That's true. Well, I guess I would do that, and then if I want drums, oh man, now I have to decide between my Plonk and my Tip Top 1.
I was wondering if the 1 was gonna make your list because it's on mine for sure.
I don't know if it's because the what's nice about I guess
it would
do the 1. It would what?
Where are your modulators? What's gonna CV control other than your
sequencer? That's why I'm debating the Peaks. Because then I have LFOs.
That's true.
And then I could just do envelopes by hand by twisting knobs in the.
Which is fun.
You know, I'm gonna do the Peaks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do the Peaks because.
Versatile.
Because I read somewhere that the best modulation source is your hands.
Yeah.
You can just twist knobs and shit. You don't need it. Exactly. True. Wait, so what? I got the cord, the Sputnik. What else did I say? The Lifeform sequencer.
The 1.
The 1, and the Peaks. That's what I'm doing.
Nice.
That's a pretty good system. Sweet. Well, it was fun.
That was hard.
Yeah. I know. Every time people are running through, I'm like, what would I do? Oh man. Okay. So this is gonna be weird with 2 guests. Never had 2 guests. But I'll just have you each do your own adjective and in your own noun, and then we'll take a little break and get everything set up.
Cool.
And we'll figure it out from there.
Sounds good. I just got one. Should I read it?
Yeah.
Hubristic.
Hubristic.
Fuck does that even mean?
I don't even know what it means.
Well, like hubris. Yeah.
Hubris.
So something that's like. Go ahead.
I might have to look that up.
Phantasmagoric.
What
does that mean?
I think that means ghostly, maybe. A really long way of saying ghostly.
Oh, I like that.
Right? Like a phantasm.
So it sounds like
a
I'm doing something ambient, man.
Yeah. And then, so don't feel bad about looking it up because everybody's had to look shit up.
For the benefit of the audience, hubristic is excessively proud or self-confident.
Oh.
Okay. I can see some
interesting.
Some strutting.
Yeah. So.
I'm gonna look up phantasmagoric. I'm pretty sure it's ghostly.
I feel like there are only 2 pieces of paper in here.
Oh really? Am I getting low?
Yeah, I feel like I don't have much to choose from. Okay. Well, at least it sort of has a ring to it. Hammer, a hubristic hammer.
Wow, you're gonna make a really aggressive patch. What the hell? What?
Oh god. Primogenitor?
What is that even? What is that?
Okay, so phantasmagoric is having a fantastic or deceptive appearance. And let's see what...
Fuck. That sounds
So,
hard.
I did not come up with these
I
words.
thought it was ghostly too.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's kind of close to ghostly, but...
I'm just thinking of
Deceptive.
phantasmagoria.
Uh-huh.
Or, you know,
Something deceptive. How am I gonna do that?
Primogenitor, an ancestor, especially the earliest ancestor of a people. That, ooh, that...
What?
deceptive early ancestor.
So, yeah, I feel like both of
Alright.
these could lend to some patches that are going to be very different from each other.
I think so.
So we got some Seattle dates here. Modular on the Spot Seattle Summer Series, May 12th, Seward Park. June 9th, Gasworks Park. Yours truly will be doing a set there. I'm really excited. July 14th, Cal Anderson Park. August 11th, Volunteer Park. And September 8th, Gasworks Park again. And then Wednesday, April 25th at 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., Patchworks is doing their bi-weekly Sound Circuits soldering meetup. So if you're in Seattle and you got some kits you want to build or something that you kind of are trying to fix and want to troubleshoot, it's a great place to go and work on your skills and get some help from somebody who's a skilled builder and solderer. If you're outside of the Seattle area and you want us to promote your upcoming events, podmodcast@gmail.com. With Brad, we're going to do a little check-in. We're halfway through our time. And the words were?
Hubristic hammer.
Hubristic hammer. So what were you thinking when you started patching?
You know, the very first thing I went to was a square wave, just because, like, I just wanted, you know, raw and just, you know, it's a hammer, so I want no finesse at all.
Yeah, right?
And I was thinking that I would just, like, get, you know, something just, like, beating, you know, just, like, just pounding at you. It isn't pounding enough yet, but it is kind of repetitive and just kind of, like, so that was, I think that's me. So that was the idea. It was a square wave and just pounding. Other thing I did is I kind of looked, outside of just like the regular shared system I've got here, I do have a radio music slotted in here, just as an extra thing. And so I went looking for, you know, a good sample or something to throw into the mix. So I found some drums.
Okay, cool.
But I haven't actually got the drums synchronized yet. So I wanted to get the drums kind of like, you know, at least resetting, the sample resetting along with the rhythm, but haven't gotten there yet. And yeah, and haven't put any effects in. Got a little bit of random going just to play with the tempo, but absolutely no sequencing really of the oscillator other than just kind of hammering you with like a gross FM tone.
Awesome. All right,
So,
let's see where we're at so far.
All right.
Oh, I should probably turn you up in the mixer, shouldn't I?
Sure.
Nice. I dig that.
Yeah.
I love that drum break.
Very cool. Very cool. I can't wait to see what it's like.
yeah.
Hitting you over my head with my hammer.
No, that's right. That's spot on right now. All right, Josh, you had
Phantasmagoric. Wait, yeah.
Primogenitor,
Yeah.
right?
So basically going for, you know, the words is, one of them is deceptive and one of them is referring to ancestry.
Mm-hmm.
And then so I'm kind of trying to go back a little bit to my hip hop producer roots. That's kind of like my musical ancestry. So I'm using the qubit rhythm for that because it's really good for just, what's it called? Euclidean drum sequencing.
Okay.
So you can get some kind of funky beats out of that. So I'm trying to do that. As far as deceptive, I'm trying to use the chord. I'm sticking it on a C major 7 chord, and the chord itself isn't going to change, but I'm now trying to figure out a way how I can modulate it so it sounds like harmonically ideas are changing, but in reality it's just a C major 7 chord the entire time.
Okay.
So,
Interesting. All right.
Yeah.
Let's check it. Let's see where you're at. That's
so there's this thing I really like doing because if you use a sequential switch, right, and then you take all 3 CV channels into the sequential switch and then use the clock to kind of change which channel is playing the notes, then you kind of get like a weird, like, even though you only have 4 pads, every time you hit a pad it's going to be a different note.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
then
I was thinking about picking one of those up. I feel like they're pretty useful.
What, the sequential pressure points?
And I want to switch as well, yeah.
I dig
Doing
it.
this.
No, I definitely felt the pressure of the clock. I think the pressure of the clock helps.
I love that.
This
And-
is the best
and
this
I-
has gone so far.
Yeah, and I also really like the whole like halftime and full time because, yeah, it's perfect. Like the audience gets to hear something without it like droning on forever at the beginning. You know, they get to hear like a snapshot in time. Now they're going to get to hear the difference between what did it do in 7 minutes,
Well,
which I think is really cool.
I also love it too because I'm a really competitive musician. So I hear Bradley sing and I'm like, I got 7 minutes to fucking destroy him.
That's the cooking show. That's totally the cooking show.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, well,
good.
so finished project, Brad. Let's see where we're at.
Oh my goodness.
Hubristic hammer. So how do you feel about it?
Well, I definitely am hearing the hammer. And
Oh, I dig this, dude.
I love the kind of broken beat, kind of has like a fly low tempo to it or
Yeah,
something.
totally. It has a very clear pocket, but it's also kind of hard to follow at the same time, which is dope.
Yeah.
here's the hammer.
Oh! I wish the listeners could have seen the motion
I know.
Bradley made with his body when he did that.
He became a hubristic hammer for a moment.
Ooh.
Dude, this is nice.
Oh! That was a good transition. Damn.
That was awesome. Nice. All right, Josh. Let's try to get this mouthful again. What is it?
Phantasmagoric. I lost the
Primogenitor.
Yeah. Phantasmagoric.
We gotta
Phantasmagoric primogenitor. Yeah.
Which means something.
Yeah. It sounds like anatomy almost. But anyways.
All right. So how do you feel about your finished product?
Oh, I fucking love it.
Yeah?
I'm so down. I'm so down with what's going on right now. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, dude.
Good.
Well, thank you guys, man. That was a lot of fun. This was
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. I really appreciate your guys' time, and yeah, thanks for listening.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
This is
thanks for
great.
having us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And